No, good evening, wherever you're at, in the U.S. or around the world. Welcome to Baseball Outside the Box. I'm your host, Pete Caliendo. This is a show that loves to interview baseball's best coaching minds who love the challenge of status quo. And remember, we have baseball coaches, we have executives, we've got international people. There's all kinds of people that we have on the show. We love sharing all kinds of information, helping coaches, but also helping people with different programs. Today, we got a special guest, and hang on one second. Don't forget, Facebook Live, Peter Caliendo, and YouTube also. Go to Peter Caliendo. We got them both going live. And don't forget to subscribe to Baseball Outside the Box on Spotify and YouTube. Subscribe, Peter Caliendo. Really appreciate it. That just helps us get the show out. So really appreciate that. And today's special guest, haven't seen in a couple years in Chicago. He was there with Joe Gualiano, the president of the association. I'll explain who Chris is. And we are going to welcome Chris Vaccaro. He is with the the Italian American Baseball Federation. I'm used to saying international a lot. The Italian American Baseball Foundation. He's the executive trustee and head of communications. He's also the U.S. press officer for the IABF. He's a Long Island native and a resident, an Emmy Award winner, media executive, professor, and author. Here's where I got to be careful, folks, because my English isn't the best, and I know I don't want to get corrected because between English, Italian, and Spanish, I messed it all up. I know. He's also the VP of Art Technology. He's a graduate of journalism at Hofstra University. And just so you know, the Italian American Baseball Foundation for years has a partnership with the Italian Baseball Federation, which is governing body of sport in Italy, and they have been doing a tremendous job in promoting the game, helping with the game. We'll explain it all. They started an academy. There's a documentary we're going to talk about, their partnerships, scholarships for kids, and also we're going to talk about professional players from Italy who are now currently playing with major league teams. So let me welcome our good friend, Chris Vaccaro. What's up, buddy?
Ciao. How you doing? It's good to see you. Happy to be on the show.
Tutto bene qui in South Carolina. Everything's great here in South Carolina. Hey, glad to have you, man, and give my best to Joe and the board. You guys, again, I can't tell you how much I follow you all over social media. You've been doing a fantastic job in supporting and being a partner. I love to see your dinner. It's amazing, and we're going to talk about your dinner too, because it's amazing who you have at your dinners. I mean, who's who in professional baseball by far, and not just professional, but also international. But before we do that, Chris, let's go a little bit back in history. Give us an idea how and why the Italian American Baseball Foundation started.
Well, it goes back not too long, but almost 10 years. Joe Gualiano and Carmine Gangone, Joe and Carmine, my pals, the hard work of just kind of bringing their idea of, hey, we're Italian American, we love baseball. There's a lot of people who feel the same way. Let's try to put people together with like minds and like spirits and figure out how we can do this for a good cause and create a nonprofit. And originally it was, let's have a foundation. Maybe there's some youth clinics to be done. Let's kind of have a gala, which was a smaller event at Carmine's restaurant in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And this is a few years before I had gotten involved. I'm involved now almost 6 years. But so they were like, hey, let's raise some money. Then it's, what is this money for? Maybe we'll go to Italy and we'll do some clinics. Then let's try to build this into something where there's scholarships so that there's a really meaningful connection between fundraising, youth development, and education. And that's where everything is sort of crystallized for really big and strong fundraising efforts based on some of these big events. And the gala, which you're alluding to, has blown up tremendously. I mean, we're averaging over 450 people a year now, attendees, but incredible names outside of Italian Americans, baseball people, baseball media people, athletes, coaches, managers, on top of our honorees. Like, we're honoring last year, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, is Italian.
Unbelievable.
It'd be bigger than that in terms of, baseball infrastructure and baseball leadership. And this is a guy, and I'll kind of start here with this passion of kind of what we're doing, but underscoring it with a guy who knows what he's doing. I don't care what players think, or, people always have things to say about our commissioners of all our sports leagues. This guy knows what he's doing. He's brilliant. He's a leader. He's in that position for a reason, right? So when he gets to our gala and he gives a really passionate speech about his Italian heritage and growing up in upstate New York and Rome, New York, and he goes, folks, there's nobody in the world doing what IABF is doing. There are no sports nonprofits that are culturally and heritage based, helping grow a game in a different country, specifically baseball. IABF is a very, very unique endeavor. And to hear that from the commissioner of baseball at our event, packed with hundreds of people in New York City,
Incredible.
It could have not gotten, more special and give us more, excitement and more ammo to go out and continue to do what we're doing.
Well, I started a podcast simply because, one, I wanted to share things with coaches and individuals all over the world. And we're in 105 countries. We really appreciate your support in all this. If you got any questions on Facebook, put them in the comments section. And by far, I just learned Manfred is Italian. I did not know, and I follow the Italian, managers, coaches, everything. And I did not know Manfred was Italian. That's outstanding. The other thing is, I should have mentioned before we started, I did have my Lily coffee, the espresso, for this show, and I got my Italian hat on too. So I had both of these. Lily Coffee, hopefully it'll be a sponsor one day. But tell us about the, I've spoken at the Italian baseball convention, which has between 300 and 400 coaches several times. My first time was when I was 22 years old, which was unbelievable. And I spoke in Italian. And it's a little harder when you're doing Italian in baseball because you're thinking English and doing it in Italian. And baseball's obviously been around in Italy for a long time, since the World War, when Americans barked at Anzio. But give us a little history about Italian baseball, and then your cooperation together, your partnership. Give us an idea what that's like.
Yeah. So first of all, this entire IABF would not exist if not for this connectivity with Italy. Baseball would not exist in Italy had it not been for the servicemen during World War II who brought the game there as a recreational activity. And at that point in the mid 1940s, it has not left. It has not left the country. It has grown. It became something very special where it was not just a recreational activity after a while. And pretty quickly, they formed leagues and they formed organizations to help bolster the sport, and they developed a governing body, which is FIBS, which is short for Federation of Italian Baseball and Softball, as you were alluding to before. And between the governing body, which helps on an international scale, facilitating Team Italy's partnerships and development across the world, World Baseball Classic, Premier 12, Baseball 5, the cooperation with WBSC events. They're busy between softball and baseball. FIBS has a lot on their plate, just like, Team USA, just like the governing body of the sports in other countries. So there's FIBS, then there's the Italian Baseball League, which operates under FIBS, where there's pro ball in Italy. And it's vastly different than what you would expect, say walking into a major league stadium or even a minor league stadium in America. And it's tough to explain to the outsider. When we say we're going to the outsider that's not Italian, that doesn't understand international baseball. Like there's a lot of people that are just like, oh, you're going to Italy for baseball? That's amazing. Absolutely. There's nothing, and you can attest to this, there's nothing greater than standing on a baseball field in Italy. It's just very specifically cool. And the fact that we could be on that soil, where our families are from, and the whole our families coming to America for a different experience, but us being able to go back there for a very special experience, it's mind blowing sometimes. And I never take for granted every second that I'm on Italian soil, but to do it with baseball in mind, knowing also that there was a golden age of baseball in Italy. There was a time where you stand there today, present day, 2025 on a field, and you go, wow, this stuff looks old. This is a bit dated. And, I've done a lot of research, and I talked to a lot of people who played in the 60s, 70s, 80s. This is not my history to make up or kind of assume. As a journalist, as a storyteller, I want to ask the right questions of the people who lived it. And when they talk about stadiums packed with thousands of people, new infrastructure being built in the 60s, 70s, Team Italy traveling across the world to play in different friendly matches and international tournaments, it's a little bit different than what you see now. Now there's a league, they have championships and playoffs, and an evolution of the structure of the sport there, the amount of innings, the amount of games per week. Like it's again vastly different than America in terms of like the little things that are different. But there was a time where baseball in Italy was one of the top sports, and now you're competing with soccer and volleyball and basketball, and auto racing, and it's a different time. But as a historian in me, the storyteller in me, doesn't want to lose sight of that. We must always hold on to the special moments that rallied communities, that built a pride in this game that still it lives on, but it's just a different time. So, will we ever see brand new stadiums and, huge infrastructure projects across the country? Not in the form that it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but we can play good baseball. We can grow the game there. We can inspire the next generation to not forget what has happened in that country. And not to get ahead of your questions, and we're seeing a time now where there are more scouts going to Italy than ever before. And there's a ton of players being signed by MLB teams, a ton as in, half a dozen, but that's more than normal, right?
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, you talk about the history. I mean, obviously we're proud Italian Americans, and, personally, and I'm not going to go into my whole background, but, I grew up there, when I was 3 years old, my first language, Italian. I went there to play baseball, actually, when you're talking about in the 80s. So I was there in the 70s watching some baseball. In those days, you had 7,000 fans a game. I remember Lenny Randall playing there, who played for the Rangers. And, they had some major league players. I mean, I agree. At that time, it's hard to duplicate that because of, the competition in the sports and all that. The other thing is a great highlight. I'm not sure if you were able to do it, but you mentioned, the World War. We were able to take a tour of our, military cemetery in Nettuno. I was there with Nick Swisher, former major leaguer, and Jeremy Guthrie. Talk about a life, just lesson. Just sitting there and seeing all these, these tombstones of all these soldiers that died in the war and everything. That was incredible. But the other part is what's nice now, as Italian baseball keeps growing. You mentioned it. They were in the World Baseball Classic. Now you have Marco Mazzieri, who was the manager, first the coach and then manager. He's now the president of the federation, which you have a baseball. He's also a business guy. He's also a marketing. He's got several areas that he's really good in. Talk about your cooperation with Marco, how that's going, because I think that's a great combination.
Yeah, well, FIBS has been a partner of IABF for many years, but we also have rejuvenated that partnership under Marco Mazzieri's leadership. We're big friends and fans, and appreciate him as a leader, appreciate him for his vision for what this movement of Italian baseball's modern age should look like. And in working with FIBS, we know we have a partner for our college scholarship program. If there are players that, they want to share with us that are in need of some financial help to get here so they can actually play ball. If they have players that they would like college coaches to look at, they'll reach out to us. We share ideas and pick each other's brains about the World Baseball Classic, whether it be something we're doing in August in Houston ahead of the games, or whether it be something specific when the games come in March of 2026. We're a partner in every sense of the word. We'll help with planning. We'll help with being a sounding board. We'll help with being the boots on the ground in the United States. And we were in Italy in early July doing some of our youth clinics in the north, especially in Castiglione della Pescaia, where we have the academy with Francisco Cervelli. I always want to get that right. And Marco Mazzieri was there, and we're, several people from FIBS joined in certain parts of the days. Gibo Girali was there in Parma, another great baseball friend of ours. And they're great people, great leaders with a good vision. There's a lot of work ahead that they have to do to continue to not only stabilize the region and kind of grow the game, but figure out what the future of Italian baseball looks like. It's not some easy fix. There are pieces that he has to pick up from the prior administration that he wants to put his own stamp on. There are also things related to the global view of Italian baseball, which is different than what he has to do on the domestic scale with, say, tweaks and changes to the baseball and softball leagues there in the country. So there's a ton of work that he has to do, but we're there to support him. We hope and love when they come to the gala in December in New York City as well. We actually will be announcing some of our honorees at some point, probably starting in the next couple of weeks. So I don't want to give anything away yet, but we always love to see our friends from FIBS. And me personally, because of my connectivity with media, communications, marketing, I'm not only obviously a board member with IABF and manage all the communications and a lot of the operations, but I'm also the press officer for FIBS in the United States. So, and I believe that will heat up tremendously as we get closer to the WBC in March of 2026, and then also the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles. So I'm excited about whatever that means in any support way and supportive way that I could help FIBS and IABF. I'm there. And this has become a part of who I am as much as it's my DNA, but the ability to connect my heritage with this game and be useful. I don't just talk about it, be useful every day, pounding the pavement with communication and relationship management and campaign driving and the graphics and the videos and the documenting the process. It really means everything to me. And I feel not a weight, but I feel the pressure to make sure we don't forget who we are and we grow for a brighter future where the kids understand where they come from and give opportunities to Italians, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my Italian family that came here. And that is who I am. And if this is the way that I could, pay tribute to them and pay tribute to things that I love, like this game, well, amen. I'm glad I found this. I'm glad we all found each other. That's how this is all working out.
That's fantastic. And 10 years doing this. And folks, if you want more information, you want help, if you want to help the IABF, go to IABF.foundation. That's their website. Great website, explains everything they're doing. And by the way, Chris, I followed all your videos from the Cervelli camps that you were doing in Italy. That's something I'd like to talk about, because you have a partnership there that you launched. And obviously that's important because you're trying to grow the grassroots there, because you got to, in Italy, you continuously have to grow the game at the younger levels. Otherwise, you're going to run out of players, and it's competitive. So it's not that easy because, like you said, you're competing with other sports. So how does it, you have the camp with Cervelli. Is there more coming when it comes to that?
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, that's an ongoing location and facility. So what happened was Francisco is very passionate about his Italian roots as well. He's Venezuelan and Italian. Mm-hmm. He's appointed as the new manager of Team Italy on the elite side, so the men's team and the U23 team. He'll be in the dugout for the World Baseball Classic. He's the guy, and he's a tremendously passionate but also very knowledgeable guy. As a major league catcher who was one of the best in the game when he played, obviously he's very smart. But when you combine his baseball IQ with his ability to just roll his sleeves up and go out there, I talked to him. I was with him in Bologna. And, I was like, hey, I know you're driving around a lot. He's like, yeah, I put down like 15,000 kilometers on my car just driving around Italy to see all the different levels of kids and players. And that's what you need. You have to be out there. You have to be visible. So, and Francisco, even prior to being appointed as the national team manager, he already had his boots on the ground. He's close with Marco, and they had launched their own Cervelli Academy. And what happened was last summer, not this past 2025, but in 2024, when we were there, we hosted a clinic with IABF, and we said, you know what, if you don't mind, we would love to be able to help provide some funding and help you, build infrastructure and give you support and market the heck out of this with you. I think it would be really great if we could do this Cervelli IABF Academy. And that's agreed, and we obviously wanted to make sure Francisco was okay with that. And, I designed the logo with his face in it. And, one of my favorite things that I've ever done creatively and artistically was that logo, because it, speaks to our organization. It speaks to him. And it's in a really incredibly beautiful place in Italy, right on the coast there. on the West Coast, not too far from Rome, but in Tuscany. And when we were there over this past summer in 2025, early July 2025, we had a ribbon cutting ceremony with the mayor and with Deborah, who helps run the facility, and also the entire sort of idea of what the academy is and the travel teams that play out of their club teams. And they've been very successful. So yes, we'll go there, hopefully every year, and we'll provide clinics and bring some coaches over, and we call that our home base. But there's baseball activity going on all year without us. That's the best part. This is something that goes on throughout the year. They have travel teams. They have different youth teams, different age groups, practices, training. They've hosted camps and clinics there. They've hosted tournaments there. Other countries have come to play there. And the fact that you can do that under the IABF umbrella is tremendously important to us. And so that's just getting started. And we brought over Joe Urso and Sam Militello from the University of Tampa, the two-time defending national champions, Division II ball in America. And they got to see it firsthand. They're thinking about like, hey, what type of equipment could we be able to, give you? There's a lot of leftover stuff. There's a lot of stuff that aren't, not used on college campuses. So that was really helpful too. They're helping us teach and coach, but if they can help us provide some of the raw materials that will help go, I mean, that's what it's all about for us. Making those connections, growing the product, giving the tools that they need to succeed over there.
Yeah, it seems like a great partnership, because I was in Germany and Czech Republic for the Pony qualifier, World Series qualifier, European. And I saw a couple of Cervelli's, academy teams coached by his coaches, and they were really well coached. Did a great job. I was very impressed. So obviously, and then all the videos that you showed, some great stuff. What about, now all of a sudden, this sounds pretty big. It's a mini documentary called Andiamo, recent trip to Italy. So this is actually going to be on the Ciao USA TV Network. A whole documentary on the time you guys spent there in Italy just now?
Yes, absolutely. I as you may know, I can't really sit still. So I am forever a storyteller, right? It's not just about posting on social though. For me, I love those quick hitting, put the selfie video out there and just talk about some stuff. And you get Joe and Carmine, and I got Urso and grab Francisco, anybody that's there, that's part of one of our stakeholders on the ground. I want to show them, I want to ask them questions, I want to talk with them. And going into it though, I said, I don't want to just do a bunch of vertical videos. I want to do something that captures the moment. And I want to do it all myself. I want to film it completely on my iPhone. I'm going to do it horizontally, not vertically. So it's, 16:9 format, and it can be viewed in a proper form. And then I edited the entire thing also on my iPhone. So I wanted this to be completely a, hands-on iPhone, smartphone journalism project. And so it's a 13-minute documentary that tells the story of this specific trip. And it's always with an eye toward, what did we experience? What are the cultural significance of everything that's going into this trip? Who we brought over there? What are they seeing now versus how can we help grow this thing for the future? And we capture that in 3 different cities, Castiglione della Pescaia, Parma, and Bologna.
Awesome.
And so that's the journalist in me, storyteller in me. Luckily, Giuseppe Barone from Ciao USA TV is a contact and a partner. And I said, hey, I'm going to do this. I think this would be great. Obviously let me know the quality after the fact if you want me to adjust anything. And so now we're just hammering out when it's going to be. I wish I could tell you when it was going to come out. It's going to come out sometime in probably early August. It's like an imminent release, but I don't know the exact day and time. But I will be promoting the heck out of it, and I'm excited about the world seeing it, right? The people in Italy seeing it, and the kids that we got to speak with, and the young athletes that got to attend those camps that I was capturing them swinging the bat and throwing the ball, and there's a lot to it. But yeah, special project, right? When we look back on, I remember that trip. Well, if you're lucky, you can find some photos on your phone. That's really what the average person's like, maybe you save some of them on your computer and a hard drive. Me, I have everything meticulously saved in hard drives, in folders, in different, online portals. Everything's documented on social media. And that's not even enough. I wanted that multimedia visual storytelling stamp to say, this is who we are, and this is what this trip meant to us. And so, yeah, I'll let you know as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll help get that out, obviously, to as many people as possible. I remember in the 70s, I want to say I learned about Italian baseball through a 60 Minutes piece. They actually did 60 Minutes on Italian baseball at that time. Again, very popular, right? We're talking about 6,000, 7,000 fans a game. Lenny Randall gave it a lot of publicity. So that was the first time I had learned about it. But now with this endeavor you guys have, it's a big project, obviously, as you mentioned. There's a lot of work behind this. A lot of people have a lot of things to do. But you also have to raise a lot of money. So I love your events because you have the golf outing, you've got the cigar, I believe, event that you hold, cigar and whiskey, bourbon, which I'm a big cigar, whiskey, bourbon person. You have different events. You also have the Heritage Games at MLB Games. I saw a list of about like 10 major league teams. Let's talk briefly about those because I want people to know about the project that you're doing and that they can help raise money or attend some of those events.
Yeah, that's a ton of work. There's probably across all different levels of baseball. So from MLB all the way down to independent leagues and everything in between, there's probably now between 30 and 40 MLB or Italian Heritage Games across all of the levels of baseball. There's at least, I think, 30. There's probably somewhere closer to 35 if I haven't found.
And that's not easy to get major league teams to do that. I mean,
so here's the challenge. I've been doing it for 3, maybe even 4 years now, I guess. When there's staff turnover in the sales department or the accounting executives or the suite reps or the event planning, or they have a promotions team. First of all, every team does it differently. And then they're sports business jobs. People are leaving from one team in one city to the next. So I have to try to pick up the pieces and find who else to contact in the off season. And it actually starts in the fall, September, October, November. We start worrying about the following year's games. And this is the rhythm. There's no perfect way to say. There's no like playbook specifically for this. Some teams are fantastic to deal with. And they say, hey, come on down. We'll do ceremony. We'll put you on the board. We'll read the PSA. You'll get a percentage of the ticket sales, which always goes to our IABF scholarship fund, by the way.
Nice.
We've done first pitches. We've done holding the finish line at the President's Race with the big mascots in Washington, all these different marketing activations, if you will. Or the total opposite is, we'll have an Italian night. There's no reference to IABF. You're not getting any percentage. We don't have a giveaway item. You're barely lucky if they play Sinatra in the 7th inning stretch or something, like that. So there's like peaks and valleys here.
Sure.
Some minor league teams have real unique creative mobility with this, and they go and create these alternate uniforms, and they have giveaways, and they have stores that pop up where you can buy it. For instance, coming up in August, I think it's 14, 15, 16, the Mets AA affiliate, the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, are becoming the South tier spicy meatballs for the weekend, for the whole series.
No kidding.
And so, I helped promote that a little bit. We gave a shirt and a hat to Francisco in Italy. I did a video with him, a photo with him. And I should hopefully be up there in Binghamton to experience one of the games and maybe go on the field and do something. But, some of it benefits IABF in terms of scholarship fund. Even if a team doesn't, and if they're like, no, we don't do a percentage give back, or we already have a community partner that's local, I just want more Italian Heritage Games because it raises the profile of Italians in baseball. It raises the more people see green, white, and red and our flag and our family's heritage, the better. And some of it, again, is great. And they're like really big and a nice percentage of revenue for us for the scholarships. And some of them, they've had it and it goes away because the interest wasn't there. Or I've been working for 3 years to get one club to get up and running because it just took me that long. But I put the work in to make sure it's a part of the conversation. So, I think it's between 30 and 40 cities or ballparks this year have Italian flags flying. That's
outstanding. Boy, and I forgot to mention even the golf outing you guys hold. So I know there's a lot of events that, that help you raise money, and that's fantastic. I did want to mention, and then we'll finish it off with maybe, just whatever we may have missed that you want to mention about the IABF. Feel free to, at the end here, to mention it. There's a membership I know you can join. Obviously, you can donate. Go to the website. Again, the website, IABF.foundation. IABF.foundation. Check it out. We'll be putting it all over social media. And I always try to forward as much stuff of yours as I can all over my social media. Lastly, you mentioned the pro players, from the States. But before we do that, real quick, the scholarship, because I think that's unique and that's important. Qualifications. How do you qualify the kids with the scholarships?
Yeah. So prospective or current college baseball and softball players, both Italian nationals and Italian Americans in the States. If you go to a website and you find the scholarship tab, you'll see the specifics. But you have to have a GPA that's upstanding, and so you have to be a good student. You have to have your transcript visible. You have to share some of your financial data so we can see that there's need. You have to write a personal statement about what Italian culture and heritage means to you. And then if you make it to a certain round, you interview with our committee, our scholarship committee. And if you get through, you obviously get some cash, and also you get recognized at our gala in December. And then quite frankly, the more well you do in the field, or even like professionally, the more we will promote you. So like now we have an alumni group list of, say, I don't know, close to almost 75, 100 people that have been honored by us with scholarships when they change colleges, when they go play minor league ball, when they switch jobs or win an award professionally. I promote it. I grab that info. I put it on our pages. They're part of the IABF family. And the more these young, adults, I don't want to call them kids, they're students, they're young men and women, the more they do good for them and their families, the more we're proud of that. So yeah, and we open up the scholarship applications and process usually later in the year, early next year. We're done with this year's round. But once you come to like December, January, we start to get everything out there. There's usually a 3 or 4 month window where we're going through the process. Applications are coming in, and then we meet with everybody. And but yes, and then not to lose track, but you were mentioning we have a golf outing September 2nd. That's on Long Island at Inwood Country Club, historic Inwood Country Club, where they've had U.S. Opens before. The gala is in early December. Same spot, Marina Del Rey in the Bronx. We just wrapped up our very successful cigar outing that was in Queens in New York. Awesome. We did for the first time a satellite mini social in Tampa in February, maybe March. I'm losing track of the days now. But we honored Joe Urso as an IABF ambassador, gave him an honor, had a bunch of Tampa natives and locals down. That was the first time we did something in that city, and it was really well received. So now we're thinking about, do we do something in Boston? Can we do something in Arizona? Obviously, we're going to do something related to the WBC in March of next year at some point, either in Houston or maybe Arizona, where we believe Team Italy will be working out. So, we're always thinking, yes, we're very Northeast, tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut focused, because that's where our people are, the people that make this engine go. But there's a lot of proud Italian Americans that want to be involved. And sometimes we don't have an answer of how you can be involved. And it's not always just, hey, write us a check. We want to do things in other cities and have functions to get people to come together. So that's where, if you ask me flat out, what's the future of IABF? It's more growth across the country and creating more relationships to help drive more fundraising, more awareness, more visibility, and more college scholarships. And it's not more, but there's a strategic element there that I believe we've begun to tap into.
Yeah, and as you know, at one time I used to work for the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame, who we had the pleasure of having dinner with Ron Onesti, good friend. There's a great point right there you just brought up. I could just see the IABF chapters. There's so many Italians in all these big cities, right? You could have a chapter in all these cities where they're holding golf outings and dinners, and boy, that can get really big. And before we close, a little shout out to our good friend, my good friend for over 25 years, who's done a fantastic job, who accomplished something incredible. You mentioned earlier Italian players with major league teams. Well, our good friend Lucio Taschin from Rovigo Baseball, who I go there every year. As a matter of fact, I'm leaving Tuesday with our softball team, our Caliendo Sports International softball team. We take baseball and softball and tour all over Italy and do a sports, as you know, sports cultural experience. So I'll be seeing Lucio again. 2 players from his club made it signed professional. One happened to be his son. He's such a great coach. He's a great promoter of the game. He's done such a great job. One of the best baseball people in Italy, and I know you know him well.
listen, he's an incredible man. Really, really passionate about also this growth. He's got a marketing and growth mindset like me. So
Absolutely.
I don't speak Italian perfectly by any means, but I speak
That's
marketing
right.
and communications, and
Yep.
so does he. So when we were with each other in Bologna, and it felt like not only are we in the same country on the same soil for a change, but like everything was aligning. So I actually can't wait to connect with him at some point again soon. But yeah, I mean, Giacomo, his son, is now member of the Blue Jays organization. And then Matteo Morelli signed with the Mets, which is unbelievable that they would come right out of the same regions, same club. That's very rare.
Oh, I'll be honest with you, in all the years I've been in Italian baseball, I've never heard of that from one club, which just goes to show some of the development that he's doing there at the club. And that club would have never grown the way it's grown in a smaller community, if Lucho, and Lucho and his people, obviously, he's got great people that do a lot of work for him. And so, again, just a little shout out to our very good friend. Finally, Chris, man, I know you're busy because you were on a call before this. I'm sure you got a lot more going on. Anything we missed about the AABF and, you want to mention, and we'll close it off?
Well, no, we covered a lot of the key topics. I think the key is also we have a great board. Joe and Carmine got this thing off the ground way back when. And Natalie Spitalieri, Joe DiMartino, Dom Scala, and myself have been building ever since. We're looking forward to some great events coming up. And I'd be remiss if we also don't mention the other Italians that had signed deals with affiliates. So Filippo Sabatini, Williams Wong, Alessandro Ercolani. Obviously, we mentioned Giacomo and we mentioned Matteo, but Samuel Aldegheri, he's right there back on the cusp of playing with the Angels, back and forth AAA. And
left-handed pitcher.
Left-handed pitcher. He's one of the top-rated prospects in the Angels organization. He's made it up to the big leagues a couple of times. So when I see things like that obviously makes me proud, but that inspires me to keep pushing hard because we know the more visibility Italy gets, the more that these diamonds in the rough will be found. There are good ball players there. They need the ability to be seen. They need the ability to be scouted. And if I could do my part by helping tell their stories and promote the fact that this is an up and coming country I love the golden era. I love talking about all the great stuff. Let's get back to that. And the new golden era of baseball in Italy can be defined by the number of people that are playing pro ball. That is where we're headed. And if we have a half a dozen now, let's make that a dozen in the next year and a half. And I believe
absolutely. Yeah, and I think also the other thing, I think if you can get some players to come play high school, college baseball, get them situated with the American way of doing things and with the culture and everything. I mean, that and scouts seeing them, that's another program. Chris, outstanding, man. I mean, again, you guys have done a fantastic job. I'm here to support you any way I can. Anything I can do, let me know. Keep doing what you're doing, man. It's been it's fun to watch. God bless you. And Italian baseball is definitely heading in a very good direction.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, the ability to share our story. And I know we're like-minded and like-hearted, where we just want to see the best for Italian baseball. So keep up your great work, and I'll do the same, and so will the rest of the IABF board. And just grazie mille.
Grazie tutto. I really appreciate it. And folks, that was Chris Vaccaro, IABF. Special thank you to him. Don't forget, IABF.foundation. Also, check us out on Baseball Blue Book. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and also Caliendo Sports International, where we take teams around the world for cultural and sports experiences. Last thing I always tell everybody, stay safe, be healthy, God bless you, and we'll see you on the next show.